The world can be a heavy place to walk through. Sometimes, the weight presses down in silent rooms, behind closed doors where tears fall unseen. In the muted hush of midnight, a woman sits alone. The shadows press in tightly, her knees drawn in close as she traces circles in the air with trembling fingers. Her breath is shallow, her sobs muffled into the cushion she clutches to her chest. All around, darkness pools in the corners, an ocean of sorrow contained within 4 silent walls. Beyond her fragile sanctuary, elsewhere in the city, a man plods beneath an endless cold rain. The streets are empty, his figure hunched, his coat soaked through. He glances at reflections in murky puddles that stretch like scars across the empty concrete. Each droplet that falls from the sky lands with the softest thud, echoing onto shoulders bowed beneath invisible burdens. He walks without a destination, guided only by the slow rhythm of his exhaustion and the memories that refuse to dissolve in the downpour. In a distant land fractured by conflict, children press themselves into the space beneath a trembling staircase. Rubble lines the floor. The world outside is a cacophony of fear. Their faces are smudged, eyes wide and shining with silent questions. They cling to each other, small hands holding smaller hands, while beyond the thin walls, danger and sorrow sweep the streets with the chill of a winter breeze. Time seems frozen in their huddle, every tick of the clock amplified by uncertainty. These moments of suffering, though unique, are threads in the fabric woven through all of humanity. Pain comes quietly, often unexpected, settling in the silent pauses between heartbeats. For each soul, the world narrows to the sap of a single candle flickering in vast darkness. And yet, in these depths, something mysterious and profound begins to stir. The camera lingers, and the light shifts. In the woman's room, her broken sobs are suddenly interrupted by a warmth that is not born of lamps or morning's promise. She glances up, startled, and her gaze collides with the gentle presence of a figure standing beside her chair. He does not speak. He simply is. He kneels to her level, robes glimmering with an opalescent gold. His eyes, clear and impossibly kind, meet hers with tender understanding. He reaches out, and as his hand settles on her shoulder, a subtle glow radiates, not just illuminating her skin, but reverberating into the marrow of her pain. The air seems to shimmer, sorrow gently diffusing, as if the very burden of her heart is shared, carried, and seen. Out in the rain, the solitary man's breath misting skyward, he feels a presence join him under the endless grey. Jesus stands beside him, unhurried. The warm radiance he brings is not jolting or jarring, but gentle, a soft sunlight that coaxes open, shrouded eyes. Not a word is spoken. Instead, Christ's hand rests between the man's shoulder blades. The warmth moves through the thickness of his coat, dissolving some of the chill that had settled beneath his skin. The rain, relentless moments before, slackens, and a hush falls, an interlude between suffering and the beginning of hope. In the cracked stairwell, where shadows shield cowering children, a movement catches their collective breath. Jesus appears amongst them, not towering or intimidating, but close to the ground. He stoops until he sits among them, folding his legs so that he meets each frightened gaze at eye level. His robe pools softly on the battered floor, catching the meager light. One by one, the children feel the gentle touch of his comforting arms. The smallest of them leans into his embrace, and for the first time in days, the stillness pulses not with fear, but with a new and unfamiliar peace. Here in these silent encounters, hope is not thunderous or triumphant. Like dawn breaking across a cold hillside, it begins quietly, warmth seeping into frost-bitten marrow. It is a hand on the shoulder, a gaze that says, "I am with you, even here." The weight does not vanish all at once, but the darkness is pierced by something more powerful than pain. As each moment unfolds, the light begins its gentle transformation. In the woman's room, golden illumination slowly traces gentle lines across her face, wiping away tear-stained shadows. She inhales, a deep and cleansing breath, and with it, the tightness in her chest eases. For the first time in what feels like forever, she loosens her grip on the cushion and looks beyond the suffocating walls. A window, once clouded with condensation and doubt, now glimmers with the first blush of dawn. She rises, moving with tentative hope, and lifts the shade. Outside, the world is washed in a renewed glow. The sorrow is not erased, but it is somehow lighter, filtered through the warmth of his nearness. In the city street, the man slows and finally stops. He lifts his face upward. The rain has faded into a fine mist. The clouds above part, letting through beams of sunlight that dance across his path. Blue sky appears, delicate but persistent. He draws a breath, deeper than before, and his shoulders square slightly as if ready to accept not just the weight, but the presence of someone who has promised to share it. In his eyes, a new clarity settles, not absence of struggle, but the presence of a sustaining glory. Among the children, the air grows warmer. As the sound of shellfire ceases, silence arrives not as emptiness, but as bastion. The eldest of the children dares to poke his head from their hiding place. Instead of fear, he finds the courtyard bathed in rays of sunlight, the debris caught in glimmers of light that make even broken glass look like scattered jewels. Hesitantly, the children emerge, clutching the hands of Jesus as he leads them into the open. Their faces begin to change, smiles hesitant at first, then blooming wide with laughter and relief. They run, chasing shafts of light across the battered ground, their shrieks echoing with unguarded hope. From these scenes of pain, light continues to unfold and grow. The music that accompanies this journey is subtle at first, a single piano note, gentle and unhurried, before deepening with layers of soft strings. Each chord is drawn out, reinforced by the sound of breath, human, resilient, alive. As the glow of Christ's presence intensifies, so too does the music, blooming into soaring harmonies that fill every silent space. All around, landscapes begin to pulse with rebirth. Swollen black clouds give way to the gentle sweep of dawn. On a distant plain, wildflowers unfurl silk petals in the newfound optimism of sunlight. In a forest, beams of light pierce the canopy, illuminating the green floor where tiny seeds push through last year's brittle leaves. Rivers swollen by storm now glisten, their waters reflecting gold as the sun stretches higher into the sky. Majestic peaks rise in the distance, crested with the last remnants of snow. Soft sunlight bathes the summits, dusting every curve with burnished gold. Below, valleys awaken, mist retreating in ribbons as the promise of morning spreads. Flocks of birds, sudden and joyful, climb in arcs across the lightening sky, their flight a dance of freedom and effortless beauty. A mother, who once wept alone, steps into her garden at sunrise. The grass is damp beneath her feet. A gentle snow, the kind that glitters as it falls, light as hope itself, descends in delicate patterns, vanishing as it lands. She lifts her face to the sky and smiles, tears this time not of sorrow, but of gratitude. The world is the same, marked by suffering, not healed entirely. But her heart beats with a new lightness. In a mountaintop clearing, a family gathers, each member gazing out in silent awe. They are together, their arms wrapped around one another, the warmth of sun on their backs. Their faces, once clouded by grief, are soft with expectation, touched by something eternal. All around them, flowers open to the air, trembling with colour in the golden light. The final movements swell with hopeful promise. Lakes, still and mirror bright, catch the first rays of sun. Mountains stand guard against the retreating night as light skims their ridges and floods their valleys. Peaceful snow, drifting in slow, lyrical patterns, settles on evergreens and rooftops. The whole earth seems to pause, breathing in the soft, tranquil warmth of hope reborn. The vision lingers on that slow, breathtaking sunrise. Light rolls ever upward, chasing shadows into memory. Birds spiral higher, riding the golden air. Fields, once scarred and broken, now burst with wildflowers reaching up to the heavens. The world, for this moment, is awash with warmth and colour, a living testimony to the glory waiting on the far side of every trial. Amidst it all, the presence of Jesus remains. Sometimes visible, sometimes only a warmth just out of sight. Always there, steadfast, comforting, promising that no suffering endures forever. The hope he brings does not erase pain, but it transforms it, knitting every tear and cry into a tapestry that glows with purpose. The music rises, the final notes shimmering across the stillness as sunlight floods the highest peaks. Every broken heart is bathed in light. Every fear is quieted with the assurance of love that does not fail. In this glory, pain is not denied, but it is revealed as the prelude to a greater joy, a dawn that shatters the night with promises fulfilled. And so, as the world awakens anew, the words of old ring true. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. In broken rooms and rain-soaked streets, amidst trembling children and upturned faces, hope is born and reborn. A quiet miracle, a golden thread unwavering through every season of suffering, stretching forward to a glory that waits, radiant and sure, on the other side.